Bonus video number 2. And this one is something that I can get really fired up about. I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before. If this kind of intrigues you and you want to go deeper on this, 2 books that I really recommend are Woman Code and Moody Bitches. They will teach you everything you need to know. But this is just kind of a crash course. And these aren't hard and fast rules and can be different for older people, pre or postmenopausal people, and transgender people. But for people with fluctuating hormone cycles, it can be a game changer. Even if you do not have a hormonal cycle yourself, you likely work with or live with people who do. So consider this relevant. But here we go. People with ovaries or anyone experiencing an estrogen-driven monthly cycle, your productivity, mood, and energy will tend to ebb and flow roughly every 5 to 7 days. A 28-day cycle is typically broken down into 4 phases, and it starts day 1 with the day that you begin bleeding. So day 1 is going to be the day you begin bleeding, and 1 through 6 are considered your menstrual phase. Days 6 through 10 are your follicular phase, 11 through 18 ovulatory, and days 19 through 28 are luteal. To put that out on a calendar, it would look roughly like this. So if you start bleeding on Wednesday, August 3rd, you're going to kind of progress through your phases like this for 28 days up until your period begins again. You can have a 24-day cycle up to like a 32-day cycle, I think they say. Measure it yourself so you know what your cycle length is. And it can also vary a little bit month to month. See, it's hard to explain because it is generally confusing and it's so unique to each of us. But my goal is to just give you kind of the tools you need to understand this. So now if we look at each phase broken down, each of these slides is going to tell you what's going on hormonally with you during that phase and how that kind of impacts productivity. So for example, in the menstrual phase, your estrogen levels rise slightly, progesterone dips, and it can leave you feeling low on energy, but very reflective. This is really good for analytical tasks. It's a good time for solo projects, proofreading, reviewing data, assessments, or goal setting. In the follicular phase, the hypothalamus releases FSH, which stands for follicle stimulating hormones. And this is a hormone that's produced in the pituitary gland, which causes the follicles in the ovary to grow. And during this phase, energy and motivation rise along with that progesterone. It's a really good time to do focused work, creative work, or learning. It's perfect for research, online courses, or writing. And then ovulatory phase. This is when estrogen and testosterone levels peak, making you feel very social and confident. This is when you want to engage in group work, attend conferences or networking events, do interviews, have those happy hours, have hard conversations, do presentations, stuff like that. And then the luteal phase. If you are not pregnant, your progesterone levels will now rapidly decrease, making you feel sluggish and possibly depressed. A good recommendation during this time is to avoid new projects or big launches, focus on mundane or repetitive tasks like organizing files and updating reports. And just a side note on this one, there is something called luteal phase depression, and some people can have it very mild and some people can have it more severely. I was one of those people who experienced it more severely. So I would go into like a very depressive funk for 2 days during my luteal phase. And that was really hard when I didn't understand what was causing it, because I would kind of let it drag on for like a week. And if you're feeling super depressed for a week every month, it just starts to impact you because it feels like you're depressed all of the time. So understanding that this happens on days 24 and 26 for me helps me just be like prepared for it, deal with it, and then get over it really quickly. And I think this is one of the most powerful things that I realized with hormone tracking. The other thing that really helped me was understanding that in this phase, our bodies are retaining a lot of water and we can kind of bloat up so much that our clothes don't fit. And understanding that this was natural and in a couple of days that water weight would come off, my clothes would feel comfortable again, helped me avoid some of those body image issues that come along with this. And so to overlay the productivity aspect onto the calendar again, this is what it would look like. So if you're trying to align your productivity with your cycle, you're going to kind of look at your work this way. So analytical tasks during that first week, and then focus on creative work, presentations, pitches, collaboration, and then repetitive, low pressure administrative tasks, avoid launches and new projects during that luteal phase, and then you're back into the menstrual phase again. If you were digging this, I gave a couple book recommendations, but I also have a blog post and a free cycle syncing cheat sheet that you can download. I put everything in the lesson notes if you want to go just a little bit deeper. But just remember that the only way to know your own unique cycle is to track it. And it's really important to understand if you have a 24-day cycle, a 28-day cycle, or 32-day cycle. And use this as a guideline, not as a rule. And then I also know that for some people, you don't have a lot of control over what your day looks like or what kind of tasks you work on when. So just try to think of this in terms of small shifts that move you just a little percent toward alignment. And then hormonal birth control and hormone replacement treatments will impact how you experience your menstrual cycle. If you are on hormonal birth control and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, Danny, that's probably why. I've been off birth control for, I think, almost 8 years now. And it really took a full year off of it for me to feel like my natural cycle was back. And I was feeling all those natural ups and downs that we talked about throughout the lesson. And then to end with, people with testicles or anyone experiencing a testosterone driven cycle, instead of a 28-day or monthly cycle, they will have a 24-hour hormone cycle. And that kind of looks like this. So testosterone typically peaks early in the day, evens out in the afternoon, and fades in the evening. So you may feel your most focused and confident 2 to 3 hours after waking up. This can be a really good time for presentations, pitches, or interviews. This is often why people with a testosterone-based cycle also like working out and doing stuff like that in the morning. High testosterone can also make you more argumentative in the morning, so it's a good time to avoid conflict or hard conversations. Solo work in the morning and collaborative work in the afternoon can be a really good schedule. And then testosterone levels typically begin to decrease each year after the age of 30. And they say roughly 2% per year. And this can lead to feeling more even keeled throughout the day with less of an energy boost in the morning. And if you're feeling like doing some action items with this bonus content, you can find them in your workbook.